Good afternoon. Jeff Murrah here with True Texas History. It's good to see you. Sorry I was out yesterday. There wasn't anything posted. So today I'm going to be talking about the first English in Texas. You know, here in Texas, we talk about the Six Flags over Texas, but there have been other nations here, and other nations have contributed. I'm hoping over time to go ahead and cover, the contributions of the Belgians, the French, the Jamaicans, all kinds of nations have left their imprint and footprint in Texas history. But today I'll be talking about the first English. And where this starts, let's see, let me double check the year here. 1568. That's way back there. Now, 1568, a lot of times, at least I was guilty of this at one point. You go to school and you start to think that the world began in 1776. The world did not begin in 1776. It began a long time before that. Things happened before the Declaration of Independence. There was a lot of history that went down, not only on the eastern seaboard, but here in Texas. But 1568, this is way back there. At that time, Spain had a lucrative trade going on with Mexico, and by lucrative trade, a lot of the gold and valuables in Mexico were being shipped to Spain. And a lot of people were aware of that and paid attention. And with all that wealth, Spain started expanding her empire and posed a threat to the English, and they didn't take too kindly to that. Plus, there were some other issues going on concerning church authority and whether or not the Catholic Church had authority over England, and these were some of the issues. There were some big ones at that point. I'm not going to go into those issues right now, but you need a little bit of background to understand why the English were upset with the Spanish. Not only did the English want to have their own freedom, they were also very interested in the Spanish gold. And if the English are good at anything, one of the things that they are excellent at is trading. They have this uncanny ability to set up trade routes. And a couple of the English sea dogs, Hawkins and his cousin, Sir Francis Drake, I think it was Francis Drake at that point. A lot of times your history books don't tell you that those two guys were cousins, but they were. And Hawkins was sailing in the Gulf of Mexico, and what he would do, it was kind of a nice little scam. He'd go into the Spanish cities, and there would be kind of this mock thing. Well, we're at war with you. We're at war with you, and the two sides would bicker a little bit and then put aside their differences in trade. Because they really wanted, some of the English goods, and the English wanted the Spanish goods. So he had a nice little game going. And one of the places that he liked to trade was San Juan de Ula in Mexico. Now, the importance of San Juan de Ula, this was the main port that the Spanish seagoing caravans carrying all the gold would take off from. And Hawkins knew that, and he went there on a ship named the Jesus. There's just something ironic about a ship with cannon sailing into port named the Jesus, that can blow you away. It's just mind-boggling. But all irony aside, Hawkins and his crew decided they were going to go ahead and do another one of these little trade expeditions and make the most of it. And things were going along okay until some of the Spanish officials said, no, we're not going to do this after all. And help, the English are here. And so, it sounded the alarm, and they fired their cannons up in the fortress they had on a hill, and Hawkins and his men had to leave in a hurry before they did all the trading and before they got the Spanish gold. They did manage to get some goods, and Hawkins was in a situation where his ship was overloaded and he didn't know if he could outrun the Spanish. So he dropped off about 114 men in Tampico at that port, and he made it on back to England. Now, those 114 men made the decision: we are going to go overland to see if we can get to a place where we can sail back to England. Now, this expedition of men, they were the first Englishmen to reach Texas. And, they went north from Tampico and eventually reached the Rio Grande, which they wanted to call the River of May because it was May when they encountered the Rio Grande. Now, one of the things that they were amazed by, the Englishmen found the Indians very receptive to them. The Indians generally disliked the Spanish because they didn't like the way that the Spanish treated them, at least according to the Englishman's account. Since I wasn't around back then, I don't know firsthand what happened, but and how accurate that is. But the English found the Indian tribes so receptive, some of the Englishmen decided to stay and intermarry with the Indians. So you have some intermarriage with the Indians there. And now, out of that 114 that were dropped off, 3 of them finally made it to New Brunswick and caught a French ship back to England. And of course, you come back from an adventure like that, you got some wild stories. And, of course, they published their stories and made some money off the deal. And people were interested in their adventures and what they encountered. Now, that would be your typical explorer story. But one of the guys insisted that he saw a dinosaur-type creature while crossing through Maine, which that sounds totally bizarre. Now, maybe he drank too much in the pubs. Who knows? I just find it quite an interesting story because there's no telling what kind of creatures have existed and may have existed at one time. But the story of the first Englishman in Texas is quite interesting, so we do have our own connection with Hawkins and Drake and the Sea Dogs and all their misadventures, because later on the pirates came on more full tilt. But that was the first, they were the first Englishmen in Texas. Then had an interesting journey along the way. But the more you know about Texas history, the more you appreciate where we came from and what we're all about. So until next time, this is Jeff Murrow with True Texas History, wishing you a great weekend, and vaya con Dios. Goodbye.